Okie dokie, right, so we are on step 6 now. Step 6 is a little bit different. Tamiya tend to have these steps, especially in the early days, they had these steps that were really simple, like step 5, putting these together. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, hang on a minute, we need to do this step and kind of do a more complex step. So with this step, we need to take our gearbox assembly that we made in the earlier steps 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So we need to take that. We need to pop this bar across. So this is the out of the metal bag D. This is the 4x95mm bar, and that basically goes through this area here. And this is going to basically attach itself to the back of the gearbox. Okay, so we're going to go back of the chassis here where this gearbox is. It's going to go here, and we're going to use these devices that are going to slide into the chassis, and they're going to literally slide in like that and screw in through here, and this pole goes in here and it kind of locks in so that it travels up and down. And then when we finish putting these in, we're going to take the screw that we placed in here to hold the spring, we're going to take that back out again so the spring actually touches this gearbox end, if you like, where this cylindrical shape of the gearbox. So it's quite straightforward. So it's 2 steps, and then we're going to be putting the side bars on, and we're going to be using the BB ones, which are the 3x12mm self-tapping screws. So it's quite a simple step, just lots of screwing and putting things on, and a little bit of grease in here. But as you mentioned, I may change this later on, so I may take these out, re-clean them out, because I may lock this with a little device to lock this in place. But we'll see how we get on. Right, so let's put these all together. Next step is on this step 6 is putting these side rails on, and you've got your side rails, got to get them the right way round. So you've got this at the front that it hooks in. So if we bring this onto the chassis, bring the chassis in, so this hooks like that, and this one fits onto this lower hole onto here. Okay, so just pop that in place just to sort of offer it up. There we go. And then you'll kind of have to spring it in place. So do the same again on the other side. So just offer that in place. Okay. There we are. And again, using our BB ones, we're gonna put our BB ones and screw here, here, and here, and here. Alrighty, so step 7, we're on to building the rear dampers, and we've got to make 2 of these. So just so you can see on here, I say make 2. Alrighty, so we need some more components. So from metal bag D, so this is quite organized, this bag, I quite like this. So we need MD2s, which are these 2, they call them free pistons, but they're almost brass sort of looking pistons. And then you've got these MD3s, which are like a plastic, almost like a plastic piston end. And they've got a flat end on each side. Then we got the dreaded E-clips. Here we go, look. Imagine 13 years old and we were looking at these things and how to put these things on. Oh dear, dear, dear. Yeah, I remember having fun finding a couple of these across the kitchen floor when I was building this in the kitchen, on the kitchen table, going back some years. Then we've also got some of these, the little 3mm O-rings. We've got a couple of those. We've actually got the piston rods themselves, which are the MD9s, and then the damper cylinder, which are these aluminium looking devices. So yeah, I don't think they are, don't think they are, I think they're plastic, but yeah, maybe not, maybe they are aluminium, very thin aluminium anyway. But yeah, so we're going to put this all together. So we'll start by doing the little free piston, putting the O-ring on the free piston, and then we'll put the little E-rings onto the piston shaft. And yeah, oh, and we need some of these, the D13s. So I'll grab some of those off the tree. Right, let's do this first step. Right, we've got to get this O-ring over this little MD2 part. So this is not fiddly much for someone with large fingers and thumbs. Go on, there we go. Oh, there we go, done. So you can see I sort of pop that over with my nails. Let's do the other one there then, just so you can see that. So there we go. One movement, there you go, done. Now we do this bit. So you can see my pliers don't have any serrated edge, so I can do this. But if you had serrated edge pliers, do what it says, put a piece of cloth or some kind to so that you don't actually mark the shaft, okay? There we go, that's nice and stopped. Lovely. Okay, so that's step 7 completed. Okay, we are now on step 8. And step 8, we need to fill our damper cylinders with our damper oil. And I kind of sort of looking at the step, you need a few things from your previous step. You need your free pistons, which are these little guys here that you put the little O-rings on. You need a couple of these little 2x4mm screws, which are going to go in the end here when you seal this cylinder with the oil. But looking ahead, you've got to pop the oil in, take the air bubbles out, use this little tool here to push the piston down so it's level with just below the thread. So if you look there, look, you're pushing this little piston here. You're pushing one of these little free pistons down in the cylinder past the cylinder threads. Okay, and then you kind of, when you're moving the air bubbles out, and then you pop the little screw in the end here to seal it, you need to then pop the cap on. So I kind of got the springs, the cap, and the little springs, and the little D3 ring. I've got that kind of ready as well. So I've kind of got step 8 and step 9 ready, so that when we take the air bubbles out of the shock oil, we can just cap it straight away. So that kind of makes sense. The other thing to note is you can see that this free piston, you've got a concave bit there on one side, and on the other side it's completely flat. So you need to make sure, if you look at the drawing, it just shows that the concave bit is actually facing downwards. So just take note of that. Little details from Tamiya there. Right, let's do the next part, which is your free piston goes in, and remembering to put the concave side down, which is that's here over the drawing. You pop that down past there, just gently push it past. Then you use your little plunger tool, and we've actually got to push this piston, free piston, past the threads. As here, look. You might get a little bit of silicone oil above, yeah. Which is what it says. Just pushing that down. Then I might just use a paper towel just to soak up. I'm just looking to see how far that piston is. It's about where I think it should be. Just, yep. I think that's about right. Now we've got to take our little screw. This is going to be interesting. These little 2x4mm screws, and we've got to we've got to screw that into the little screw thread. Luckily my screwdriver is magnetic. And now You can see our free piston is inside. And then we've got, this is where I said to you about having this next step ready. You may as well take your spring. You may as well take your, we'll try it with the collar, see how we get on. And then your spring, your MD1 spring, it sits inside there, and of course the cap. And we've got to do this for the other one. That's very good, actually. That's very good. Nice. I've got to do it all again, but I won't show you that on video because one is just enough. Alrighty, we're on step 10, and step 10 we need some of these more hardware. MD8, which are these damper mounts, 2 of those. We need some 3x8mm self-tapping screws, which are in bag A. We need 4 of those. We need the 3x12mm self-tapping screws, which are 2 of those. They're in bag B. And we need these guys here, like a tube, a 4x6mm tube. And you know these are the right ones because these are the silver coloured ones, as denoted by sort of a greyed out on the drawing. And we're going to introduce the shock absorbers that we built in step 8 and 9 onto the chassis. So we're going to be attaching them here and here. Okay, so using these components, quite straightforward, just screwing and bolting. Alrighty, show you on one side. So we're going to take the top of our shock first, okay, and we're literally going to screw this top of the shock onto here using one of the 12mm long 3mm screws and one of these little spacers. So I'm just going to pop that in there. So a little spacer I've popped in the top just to, so I can do this on camera and show you. And you pop in there, so in theory you're doing that. Okay, there we are. So just screw that on there so it's done. And we could do that on the other one if we like as well, so we can get that both done. So there we are. Now that the 2 top ones are done, we need to pop these 2 in here like that, and we need to pop this cap over the top and screw with the 8mm long 3mm screws. But just need to put just a touch of grease on here just to satisfy that when it swivels around it's not going to wear through. So you don't need to go mad on this as well, you just need to, because otherwise it collects when you're running, it just collects a whole load of dust. So just enough. Yeah, so there we are. I'll probably do the other one here as well. So just a little bit of grease in there. Okay, I'm just using only a little bit, not too bad. There we are. And again on these little ball, so just a little bit of grease, just to aid. And I'm kind of just using what's left on the brush, not going too mad because I say it collects the dust. So pop that on there, pop that on there, put it on the sides. I'm hoping you can see my fingers in the way, and the little 3mm screws, which are 8mm long. Pop that on there as well. So what I'll do is I'll pop both of them on there and screw them down tight.